March 23rd, 2017 was a seemingly innocuous Thursday that would change the world of gaming for thousands of people around the world. This is the official day one release of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, one of the largest and most successful BRs of all time. Greetings gamers, my name is Retinalus and welcome to the Art of series, where we examine some smaller gaming concepts and how they make games great. Today we will be talking about PUBG, and basically all BRs, but we're focusing on PUBG first. Thousands of player hours, hundreds of content creators, and most of all, an untold number of chicken dinners. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG, was a frontrunner of the BR genre's rise to the top of the gaming community. It was not the first of its kind by any means, but it was the first to reach such success, and was a foot in the door for others to follow in this lucrative new frontier of the game space. Depending on when you're watching this, you might not know what I'm talking about, so let's break down BRs real quick. At their core, Battle Royale games are a war of attrition between you, or your duo or squad, against everyone else on the map. You need to kill, outlive, or generally survive to be the last one or group standing at the end of the game. All the while, a damaging blue zone closes in on you, making your available play space, and therefore options, diminish. This blue zone forces you to make dangerous choices with high risks and even higher rewards. It's a game type that's simple enough in concept, but difficult to execute properly. The first few weeks the game came out, people were not good. No one knew what guns were best, how the zones moved, and there was no established meta for how the game worked. Speaking from personal experience, it was a blast because everyone was learning at the same time, and people would experiment with new weapons, new locations, and strategies in different iterations of each game. You could see something interesting like a hiding spot or how somebody worked with a game mechanic and try it in your next game. This is the honeymoon phase, early enough in the game's lifespan that everything is cool, fun, and new. But the strength of the BR is not just in its game design. No, it's what makes it such an addicting game to play. What makes the BRs special, other than winning that sweet chicken dinner of course, is that you create your own story as you play. PUBG has no story. Not directly anyway. There's no story mode, no campaign, not even any characters to speak of. There's only you and the others in your lobby. Real people who are also on their own personal quest for power and greatness. With no narrative through line, the player has to make one for themselves. Every single game. Let's take a trip for a moment to explain. A trip to younger Retinalus, when the game and me as a creator were still in their infancies. Let's travel back in time. We are going to step into the shoes of past Red. Red from 6 years before the recording of this video. It's not exactly the first week of the BR because I didn't have a video going back that far, but it's as far back as I could go. Now, let's deal with the 480p quality that I had back then and talk about what the story of this game was. We start by launching into one of the original map's favorite hotspots, the military base, known for a lot of spawn locations for choice weapons. Right off the bat, we see that we are dropping with other people nearby, meaning that we need to get things fast, else we will get knocked out early. Inside the first building, we quickly find a vest, which will help us get some protection, and a pistol, which isn't the best, but is something. The first few rooms after that don't provide us with any actual gear. Upstairs isn't much better. We have armor and a backpack, but no gun. Having gone through the entirety of the first building and hearing footsteps nearby, we run away. Finally, finding something that isn't just a pistol, we have a chance. Getting shot at from down the hallway causes younger me to freak out, absolutely terrified of somebody else shooting at him. We return fire, get a few hits, and then he finally rushes us. From here, we have won the first fight. We can then scavenge gear off this person, and are well equipped enough to move on. Unsure of where enemy players are, we continue to loot our way outside the base. We engage in another firefight that lets us get some more medicine. As we make our way through the hills outside the base, we find this guy standing here, seemingly looking at nothing. Here we come to a problem with dropping at military base, a large bridge that covers the distance between us and the other side of the island. This is one of the only ways to cross safely, and usually people are here hiding. Taking a boat to the other side, younger me almost kills himself by jumping out of the boat before it was done moving. From here, we engage in a firefight with somebody role-playing as a snail. Pushing deeper into the woods, a man on a buggy jumps out trying to get the better of us, and we put him to sleep. Inside the woods, with the zone closing in, we engage in a few rapid firefights as the game draws to a close. We take heavy damage from somebody leaving the zone, and manage to hide just in time to med. We can then just barely take him out while we wait to engage the last two players. With no information, we engage in everybody's favorite activity, bush camping. Hearing some shots in the cornfield lets us know that the last two players are not looking at us, but at each other. Here we catch sight of one of those last few players and score a hit. The zone forces us to push a bad engagement, but we come out on top barely. Here we engage the final player who doesn't quite know where we are. He panics, and right as he prones, we get the final shot. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That was my first solo win. As you can see, while I can repeat some aspects of that game in other lobbies, the story cannot be repeated beat for beat because of player and game variance. There will always be different variables, other players, new things to do and try, and those culminate to make each individual game distinctive from the ones before it. This is the kind of game where you and your friends can have a narrow escape, close calls, and talk about it days later. I cannot stress the amount of times I would log in with a friend and we would get to say things like, "Hey, do you remember the time I dove out the window before the grenade exploded and I saved us by stealing the car?" The beauty and art of the BR is that there's no set story. The player makes that narrative on their own. Much like a headcanon or fanfic for a movie or book.
What is this? I just joined a cult. I just joined a cult.
What you can imagine or create in your mind is often your ideal version of that story. You can imagine and feel how cool you looked and how amazing that sick play you made was. Your friends will be losing their minds in Discord.
Hell yeah. I died, but oh yeah.
And that flood of emotions cannot be emulated.
Got him!
Or at the very least, not in the same way by many other games. PUBG was a massive step into this play space, and its viral success had a huge impact on gamers and creators. It was a streaming sensation. The amount of people who would log in to view Shroud, Dr. Disrespect, and hundreds more to see their individual games was staggering. But again, it all circles back. One of the reasons the BRs are such a great viewer experience as much as it is a play experience. Tens of thousands of people would tune into this game because each game is a story that you can only experience once. This kind of game exudes fun story in a creative space. Now, I know that PUBG does not exist in a vacuum. Many other games have definitely made their mark on things. Fortnite, for example, which added a battle royale mode and has become arguably one of the most successful games of all time. Warzone is the Call of Duty take on the genre, and there's many more. Other ones that I have played and enjoyed are things like Realm Royale. Also, H1Z1 deserves an honorable mention because it did come before PUBG. Creating your own story is such a powerful thing for gamers and is part of why things like PUBG and Fortnite still have so many thousands of daily players. It's not the only reason, whether you like it or not. Fortnite, from a business perspective, has crushed it with marketing and bringing people to their game to the point where it's almost an institution more than a simple video game. I mean, come on, the Mandalorian can fight the Avatar. BRs themselves are so much an institution that they've shaken up the whole world of esports. Having been to TwitchCon and witnessed both H1Z1 and PUBG tournaments live, being someone in the stage, it's something to behold. And it all comes down to stories. While to some extent it is about which player is better, you latch on to the story of the player you're watching. The fact that there's no story in BRs means that each player in that tournament has their own tale to tell, and it's powerful as both a viewer and a player. But for those of us that are not professional gamers or massive streamers, creating your own story still has a lot of appeal. As games grow in their life cycles, the new player population generally declines, leaving behind a more hardcore player base. To them, the narrative aspect of BRs is almost more important. Because they are seeing the same thing so many times, the self-created story will stand out. Moments will keep them coming back again and again. I may have a game like the one I just had, but I'll never have the exact same one no matter how hard I try. I love battle royale games. Am I good at them? No, definitely not. Was Past Me good at them? No, probably not, although he'd disagree with you. But that's the beauty of it. You get to have a crazy experience every time you log in, whether or not you are the best player in the lobby, or you're just here for a good time. Hey there! Thanks for watching this Art of video where we go over big concepts that make games great. If you like this style of content, consider hitting the subscribe button. If long-form content is more your speed, consider taking a look at my list series where we go over my massive backlog of games with a giant retrospective video on each of them. Battle Royale games have been very special to me as a gamer playing with my friends, and it's a genre of game that, while I know it isn't for everybody, I urge you to give it a shot at least once. Make your own story. This has been Rednolus. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.